Hello and welcome to Cruising Through Calculus. My name is Alex and today we're going to be reviewing even functions versus odd functions. So what even is an even or odd function? Well, let me show you. If you crack open a textbook or look online for even versus odd definitions, you're probably going to find this definition here. An even function is one where f of negative x is equal to f of x, and an odd function is one where f of negative x is equal to negative f of x. Now, the very first time you see this, it doesn't really seem like it might mean very much, but I promise you it actually does make sense here. Why don't we take a look at a quick example of each so you can see how you can know the difference between an even function and an odd function. Consider this function here, f of x equals x to the fourth plus x squared. What we have to do, either if it's even or odd, is take x and replace it with negative x. So that's actually what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take x and replace it with negative x here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to simplify it. So for example, if you take a negative number and raise it to an even power, well, that'll make it positive again. So this is really just x to the fourth here. And the same thing will happen over here because you're squaring it, like this. So now that we've simplified it, I want you to take a look and notice that the simplified answer is actually the exact same answer that we had, or the exact same function that we had at the very beginning here. So what we can say is that x squared plus 4, or x squared plus, x to the fourth plus x squared is f of x here, like this. You'll notice that what I've written down here is exactly what we have up here. F of negative x equals f of x. So I suppose what I'm really trying to say here is that an even function is one where if you take x and you replace it with negative x, and you simplify it, and you get back exactly the same answer that you started with, that means it's even. Okay, but what about odd functions? Well, here's another example we're going to look at. X to the fifth plus x cubed plus x. We're going to start off doing the same thing that we did over here. We're going to take our function f and replace it with negative x. Notice that's the same starting point on both of these. So what we're going to get is negative x to the fifth plus negative x cubed plus negative x. All right, now we're going to simplify it. If you take a negative and raise it to an odd power, that is still going to be negative. So what's going to happen here is that all of these pieces will end up being the opposite sign that they used to be. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a negative and I'm going to factor it out from each piece. So the negative is now in front of everything like this. All right, well, let's take a look and compare this to where we started. Notice that the part in parentheses is exactly the same as what we had up here. So we have x to the fifth plus x cubed plus x is equal to f of x. But there is a difference, of course. There's a negative sign in front of it, like this. So, in other words, if you take a function and you replace x with negative x and you simplify it down, and you end up with the same piece, but there's a negative in front of the entire thing, that means it's an odd function. Trigonometric functions can also be even or odd. So if you ever see a cosine or a secant, for example, you can automatically know that those are even. On the other hand, if you see any of the other remaining four trig functions, all of those are odd functions. So as a super quick example, let's say that you see this, cosine of negative x. Well, cosine is an even function, so what that means is you can actually rewrite this, and you'll get just the cosine of x here. These are both exactly the same thing. No matter what you plug in for x, you'll get the same answer in either equation. Similarly over here, if you see, say, the sine of negative x, well, it's not just the sine of x this time, because it's an odd function. It's going to be negative sine of x here. So over here, if you plug in some value for x, like let's say just pi over 4, well, you can plug pi over 4 down in here, but you have to make your answer negative at the end. These are ones that you just need to know, and make sure you do know them because knowing whether trig functions are even or odd does come up from time to time. If you found this video helpful, you might consider checking out my website, which is linked in the description below. You'll be brought to Infinity Learning Academy, where you can find Cruising Through Calculus. At Cruising Through Calculus, we have over 100 videos and documents to help you get through your calculus class, including videos for each topic, practice problems, and full video solutions for those practice problems. I hope to see you there, and together we can cruise through calculus.